poverty is one of the very worst problems that the world faces today. The poorest in the world are often hungry, have much less access to education, regularly have no light at night, and suffer from much poorer health. To make progress against poverty is therefore one of the most urgent global goals. Our correspondent Faris has more details on this current issue.
As we all know, the main causes of poverty is caused by lack of employment, natural disaster, and political stability. Everyone should play a part to overcome this issue. So, let's hear a bit from Mr. Najmi, who previously has been through this issue and now is very much successful in his life.
I was born and raised in a poor family. My father was a rubber taper while my mother was a full-time housewife. I have 5 siblings and I'm the third one. Since my young age, I used to eat rice and dried fish as our daily meal. We rarely eat either chicken or fresh fish due to lack of money. Every day, I can see my father working so hard from early in the morning till late at night to earn a living from our family. My mom take the initiative to take the wages of sewing clothes to help my father sustain our life.
So, tell us, what made you this successful, Mr. Najmi?
One day, I was eager to do something to help my family. When I was at 9 years old, every day after coming home from school and finish my meal, I will go pick coffee bean and the money I get from it I will use to buy rice. As I grew up, I need to find other way which can give a huge income for us. So I take the chance to open a cafe and put my mother's secret recipe in coffee making. My coffee became famous because of its uniqueness of taste which is different from others. Then I decided to expand my coffee business empire. Year by year, I can see all the hardship and pain I experienced while developing the business and it finally paid off. My brand became more and more famous, making me one of the most successful entrepreneurs until this day.
Thank you, Mr. Najmi, for sharing your experience. CVB crew is glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me as well.
Reporting back to reporter Mirosha. Thank you. This is correspondent Faris from CVB News.
Thank you, correspondent Faris, for the information. As of now, CVB News will be back again tomorrow to update with the latest news.
For almost 25 years, the number of people living in extreme poverty on less than $2.15 per person per day was steadily declining. But the trend was interrupted in 2020, when poverty rose due to the disruption caused by the COVID-19 crisis combined with the effects of conflict and climate change.
Between 75 million and 95 million additional people could be living in extreme poverty in 2022 compared to pre-COVID-19 projections due to the lingering effects of the pandemic. In 2020, the East Malaysian state of Sabah had the highest rate of poverty in Malaysia, with 25.3% of the population living below the poverty line. Back in 2020, poverty rate shoots up to 8.4% due to the COVID-19 pandemic, according to Economic Affairs Minister Mustafa Mohamad.
Mustafa said the pandemic had caused disruptions to people's income, leading to many more households being exposed to poverty. And it is mainly for those in the B40 and most exposed categories.
Research suggests that the effects of the current crisis will almost certainly be felt in most countries through 2030. Under these conditions, the goal of bringing the global absolute poverty rate to less than 3% by 2030.
Good afternoon and welcome to Anything Goes Show. My name is Mirosha and I'll be the moderator for today's online live discussion. The topic that will be discussed today is poverty. First and foremost, I'd like to enlighten the audience on the current issue about poverty. So So how is poverty still a thing? We can say that it can be because of the conflicts that happen between two different countries, inequality rights for every individual and community, or even poor education is also in the list. Based on our topic here, we have invited few ministers who has their opinions and suggestions about this global issue. We have Madam Amira, the Ministry of Health. Next, Mr. Najmi, who represents the Ministry of Agriculture. And last but not least, Mr. Farid from the Ministry Department of Human Resources. Thank you for joining us in today's show. Now, moving on to the segment, let us first hear from our very first minister, Mr. Faris Mohsini.
Thank you, Ms. Mirasha. I think we can create new jobs in order to increase of employment. Secure job with social benefits and fair pay offer is a way out of poverty, which explains why employment is a key pillar of development. Another important thing is improve financial system and education institution, which facilitates the establishment and growth of companies that create jobs. The government should not increase the rate of employment unless they appoint people who are truly qualified and have the ability of the job, because it will affect the economy even more worse. In fact, they need to create jobs that involve the appropriate skills for most people. The income generated as a result boosts the economy and employment.
Thank you, Mr. Faris, for that explanation. Now let's move to Madam Amira and hear a little more about how a Minister of Health could contribute in order to overcome poverty.
Okay, as a Minister of Health, I think that ensuring having an access to clean water is one of World Vision's top solutions to poverty. Safe water close to home can protect children from waterborne diseases. Having access to clean water is a huge factor in a country's welfare, while most middle-class citizens can just turn on a tap for clean water to pour out of. Many poor families spend hours just trying to find water, and it is not always entirely clean. Investing in clean wells and water system can not only ensure the safety of a country's citizens, but can free up their time, allowing them to better participate in the economy. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 3 people globally can access safe drinking water, and without clean water close to home, breaking out of poverty is highly unlikely.
That's nice to hear. Thank you, Madam Amira. Well, Mr. Najmi, what do you think through the agriculture aspects that may help to overcome poverty?
If you ask me how to overcome poverty, opening market across national borders provide opportunities for both large and small economies. Exchanging of food and goods of a country to another can help develop the world's smaller and poorer economies and therefore help alleviate poverty. This is by training of farmers mainly in the agricultural sector. Farmers use their land to produce crops such as livestock feed to export to developed countries. Malaysia is rich in cocoa and rubber. In this way, we should export more of these goods in order to gain economic growth of the country. A country that is capable of meeting its own food needs without significant amount of import food. By contrast, better position to reduce poverty and increase its level of human development.
Minister, could you please explain in brief about the benefits of it that relates to overcoming poverty?
Economic growth comes from the condition of the community and the country. When we get to export the production of our food, the country develops financially. In this way, the money that we obtain from such exportation can be used for the poor. Without saying, the economic growth of a certain country increase and the poverty issue can be reduced at the same time. Economic growth plays a big part if poverty is not an issue.
Well, Mr. Faris, how do you think by creating new jobs to increase employment rate benefits to reduce the poverty issue?
Having an increased employed people in the country would give the community to live a better lifestyle. For an example, those with a secure job will not to live a hard life to live a regular routine, like others who could and therefore a better lifestyle is obtained by the community. Not just that, the amount of crime such death also can be reduced when there isn't comparison between the different backgrounds. This will absolutely provide tranquility, peace, and harmony in community life.
Thank you, Mr. Faris, for that explanation. Now let's move to Madam Amira and hear a little more about how a Minister of Health could contribute in order to overcome poverty.
By providing clean water, in this way, the health of our people can be improved. Roughly 80% of illnesses in developing countries are attributed to unclean water and poor sanitation. Access to clean water can drastically lower the number of water-related diseases. Good health is very much crucial and should always take it into consideration. If this can become a reality, it is not impossible for us to compete with developed countries like Japan and so on.
Thank you, Madam, for the constructive comments. Now that we are coming to the end of the show, it can be concluded that the main purpose of this show was to update about the current crisis that we are facing and ideas to overcome poverty as soon as possible. Thank you to all the ministers. I am happy that we managed to have a fruitful discussion today. Thank you to everyone for your listening. Till we meet again next time.